So I was in about third grade when I first thought about the priesthood, and it was mainly because I had just done my first communion, and folks saw me altar serving, and they're like, "You look good up there." And I was like, "Sure." And I was a little third grader, so I had no clue what was implied with that, but I'm like, I sort of like the idea. So years passed by. I went to middle school. I got myself into some trouble, and it was sort of in mid high school where I sort of pushed all that nonsense away, and I started going to church. And this time because I wanted to go to church. It wasn't my parents forcing me to go. I started growing in love towards our Lord. It was very subtle and actually pretty funny. It was one day I was riding in the car with my mom, and I was like, I'm not fulfilled. I don't know what it is with my life. I feel like something is missing. And I was like, I think I want to be a priest. And she was like, really? And that's the first time she actually heard that from me. So after that, I was sort of scared because my mom told a few people, and they were like, oh, you're gonna be a priest. And I was like, I don't know, I'm 16. And I was scared because I had other plans for my life. I was like, okay, God, I sort of have these things set up for myself. I want a family. I want to go into a certain career. And most of all, it was fear because I felt like I wasn't worthy. I looked at priests as holy men who have given up their whole life for God. And I just felt very unworthy. I didn't feel, I keep thinking digno, because that's in Spanish, digno. I didn't feel worthy because I was so scared. But little did I know that God doesn't call thee worthy, but He calls the unworthy so that way He may be glorified in different ways. We may testify to His glory. I started going to retreats to discern, and I was still sort of pushing it aside at the time. And it was in a retreat where I was in adoration, just there with our Lord in silence. And I looked at Him, and I was just there contemplating Him. And I felt Him very subtly speak to me, saying, be a priest. So I started sobbing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. You know, I'm a 16-year-old that's hyped now. I'm ready to do it. So I go to Kuvadi's Days, which is a retreat that's hosted by the Diocese here at Belmont Abbey College. And little did I know that there's 80 other guys that are going through the same thing I am, wondering, okay, Lord, do you want me to be a priest or a husband? But these guys are just ready to respond and answer the call if they're being called to the priesthood, which was very comforting to know at the time, especially because I was scared out of my mind. And after that, 2 years later, I got the application, started filling it out, and here I am now.